David Reinhardt with Geekenstein Media, and I'm here with...
Me. Hi. Yes, Tommy, Tallarico.
I have to say I'm a big fan. I used to watch Judgment Day back in the day.
I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I don't know why you were watching that crappy G4 station.
No, you were fun. You and Vic, you entertained me.
We were, yeah.
You put controllers down your pants.
Well, I put... let's be clear here. I put controllers down my pants. Vic did not. That was way above him. But no, we had fun. You know, it was just... The show was like... It was like two buddies just talking about video games, what they liked and what they didn't like. We just happened to have a camera and it be on national television. But that was the whole idea of the show, is just have a conversation. We didn't have cue cards. We didn't have scripts. We didn't even talk to each other before we filmed. We're like, because we want to all be fresh and live and stuff. So, yeah, we were just, you know, everyone's like, oh, you suck as a reviewer. I'm like, I don't consider myself a reviewer. I'm just like you. You play a game, you tell people what you think. That's all, you know.
You guys had Kate from Lost on before she was...
We did. Before, see, we knew what we were doing. Before Kate was on Lost, she was on our show. Exactly. She was one of the... model gamer girls, which we kind of did as a gag, you know, as we did, like we would review controllers and things, and we'd be like, hey, let's be really funny and have like really pretty girls dress up and like kind of model them like they do on game shows just to be funny, and then she ends up being like a huge, massive, mega worldwide superstar.
Sort of. She was, and now yeah. What is she doing now? I don't know.
I think she's in a movie or something. I don't know. I'm sure I'll have to IMDb that, but no, I mean, congrats to her, and yeah.
And then, of course, you reaffirmed my love for Tron, because I am just, yes.
Hey, you know, I'll tell you how hardcore I am. Look, check this out, okay? Look, I'm wearing a Tron underoos right now, okay? This is, you know, welcome to the game grid up in here. You know, I'm off the grid here, but I'm a hard. See, I don't fool. I don't fake it. I mean, you know, how many people do you know wear Tron underoos?
I didn't even know that. Well, I'm sort of not surprised it makes Tron underoos, and you have to get me some now. Exactly. So, just side note, what did you think of Legacy?
Legacy. What do you mean Legacy?
Tron Legacy.
Tron Legacy. I was thinking like, what game? Legacy of Kane? Legacy of... I liked it. I mean, did it have its flaws? Absolutely. But just to see it... Yeah. See it alive and doing well, and I hear they're doing a second movie as well, and all the merchandise that came from it.
Did you watch the show, The Uprising?
I haven't. I didn't like the animation style, but...
It takes a little to get used to, but it's pretty good.
Is it good? Yeah.
I think it's like not officially canceled, but I'm pretty sure it's canceled.
Gotcha. I'll have to check it out on Blu-ray then. But no, and the Daft Punk score was freaking awesome, so that was nice to see. So I loved it overall. Did I think it could have been better? Sure. But it was good enough to be called awesome by a Super Tron fan. So
for the longest time, I always knew you as the sound designer who reviewed video games and demanded that footstep noises sounded different on material.
Did that piss you off, or is it just me?
No, yeah, it was always annoying.
I mean, I was the first one to bring that to the world's attention, I think, on a national scale. I mean, yeah, the one footstep sound. Resident Evil, I think, was the worst. And the thing is that they would always make the footstep sounds like really loud, right? So it was like clop, 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 and it was like as loud as the guns in the game. So I never understood because, you know, it's the one sound that you hear throughout the entire game.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're always moving.
So why they wouldn't spend a little more time on the one sound that everyone hears forever, it never made sense to me. But
so how did you go from being a guy who, I mean, you ran a sound design company, and, you know, for reviewing games to having the biggest video game touring show music ever?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been a video game composer for 23 years. I've worked on 300 games, and I wanted to create something where I wanted to prove to the world how culturally significant and artistic video games have become, you know, and so that's why I created Video Games Live, and it's not just a symphony on stage playing video game music. That's an element of it, but, you know, like a video game, what are the important things in video games? You have, you know, audio, the music, the sound effects, the visuals, the graphics, the animations, the motion capture, and then of course course, the gameplay, the fun factor, the design. So I wanted to bring all those elements to a live show. So, Video Games Live, it's all the greatest video game music of all time played by a symphony and choir, but what makes it really special and unique is that everything's completely synchronized to massive video screens and a stage show production and rock and roll lighting and special effects and interactive elements with the crowd. So I kind of like to describe it as having all of the power and emotion of a symphony orchestra, but combined with the energy and excitement of a rock concert, mixed together with all the cutting edge visuals and interactivity and technology and fun that video games provide. So you don't have to know anything at all about video games to come out to our show and have a complete new respect and understanding about what the whole video game industry is about. It's a celebration of the entire video game industry. We're not interested in putting on a serious classical concert of video game music. Shh, everybody be quiet. A bunch of old people in tuxedos. That's, and that stuff's out there, and that's fine too. But it's not what Video Games Live is. It's not what I ever wanted it to be. So we want to start with the video game and then take that to an amazing level. We don't want to kind of take what's there and then change it to what a traditional symphony would be. It's not, so we're all about the excitement and the energy, because video games are fun and the show should be fun. We encourage people to yell, scream, cheer, clap, holler whenever they feel like. We don't tell people, shh, everybody be quiet, the symphony's going to begin. So that's the big difference about Video Games Live and your typical symphony show.
How do you guys choose the set list, though? Because there's such a wide breadth of just fantastic music.
Yeah, I've created over 120 segments now for Video Games Live over the last 11 years, and we can only play about 18 of them a night. So every year we change the show. In fact, we've never done the same show twice, ever, in hundreds of shows over a decade of touring. So a lot of times when we pick the set list, what we'll have people do is when you go to videogameslive.com, when you sign up to our mailing list, you put in your email address, where you're from, and then what games you want to hear. So I look at that list. Whenever we go into a new territory, I'll look on our mailing list, see what the people want, and then we also create a Facebook events page for the event, and I ask people in there, what do you want to hear? So again, just like video games are interactive, look, I do the show for everyone else, not for my own personal, I have fun doing it, obviously, but I want the audience to help us decide what the set list is. In fact, even during the show now, I have people decide with their smartphones. We'll put games up on screen and they can decide, like in Act 2, which one do you want to hear? 1, 2, or 3, and people text and they can decide, and they see the bar in real time moving up. It's like a little video game going on in the audience to see which one, which gets it, and then we play. So we do a bunch of interactive stuff.
Now, so far, what has been the song that you wanted to play the most, that you guys have gotten to play?
Castlevania is a really fun song with the guitar and the symphony going on. Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross is one of my favorites. Street Fighter 2. The Warcraft montage to me is like the best. We do about 20 Warcraft and Blizzard, Diablo, StarCraft pieces, but we do this one Warcraft montage. The art of Blizzard is just second to none, and the way the lights and the video and the music and the choir all come together, it's like the perfect slice of Video Games Live to show what it is. So that's another big one.
Is there any song you guys haven't played yet that's just been it's on your hit list?
Oh yeah, I keep a running list. There's always about 20 or 30 songs on there. Just this year alone, we just recently put Monkey Island into the show, and it's a big symphonic thing. And in fact, we announced that as our first song that's going to be on our third album that we're doing on Kickstarter right now. And we released a MIDI mock-up of the song in its full orchestration. You can download it for free on our Kickstarter page. And And so we put in Destiny in the show, Bungie's new game that's not even coming out till next year. We're doing Assassin's Creed 4 right now. It hasn't even out. It's amazing music. Dota 2 we're playing right now. And just over the last year, like we've put in things like Skyrim and Journey. So there's always new stuff that is coming out that's amazing, and we're playing it before it even hits. Diablo 3 stuff that we're playing now. That being said, all of the old stuff too, I have a big list. Stuff we haven't got to yet are things like the Mana series, Legend Secret of Mana, Katamari Damacy. This is on my short list of stuff we're working on next. Devil May Cry, Earthbound, Mother as it's known in Japan. So there's a ton of more Final Fantasy stuff. We're doing a Super Mario World arrangement that's going to blow people away. It's never been done before. More Zelda stuff. Donkey Kong Country we're putting in the show. So there's just an endless supply, even among a game like Final Fantasy. Well, there's a whole Final Fantasy tour. I mean, so we have about 6 or 7 different Final Fantasy segments we do, and you could do 20 or 30. So there's always going to be an endless supply of stuff. The show's always going to change.
How do you guys pick where you're going? I mean,
we get either invited by the symphonies, or the city will invite us, but we also have agents, and the agents kind of go around and pitch the show to people, because the reality is that a lot of symphonies around the world are looking for new content. They're looking to usher in a whole new generation of young people, and what better way to do that than a freaking video game show, So they really love it. I mean, we've been on the covers of magazines, the symphony magazines and things like that, and they're saying like, wow, this is like the new opera. This is something that I mean, because think about it. It was only a couple hundred years ago when a bunch of loudmouth Italians like me all sat around a table and they said, hey, I got a new way that we can help create, new interest in the symphony. Why don't we tell a story through the vocals? Why don't we dress people up in costumes? Why don't we build elaborate sets on stage? And that's how opera was invented. So maybe Video Games Live has been called the opera of the 21st century. I'm just using all the things that we grew up on: video games, interactive computers in our daily lives, rock and roll lighting, and video screens and interactive elements, and I'm just kind of making that, combining that with a traditional symphonic sound.
And you guys have been doing an amazing job. If you haven't seen it, it's a beautiful, just thrilling show. And if it comes to your area, just don't hesitate. Go.
Yeah.
So, what's next? Like, what else do you? I mean,
the big thing for us is right now that we're focusing on is our Kickstarter. So we launched a Kickstarter a couple weeks ago. It ends September 13th. And what I wanted to do, again, to kind of break the mold, is that when you go on Kickstarter, you look at it. I've been following it, looking at it for a couple of years now, and you'll notice that like the value that you get back, so when you pledge to something and the value you get back, like maybe you're saving $5 or $10 from when the product comes out, but you feel good that you helped to contribute to the project. And then at like higher levels, maybe you get your name on a tombstone in the game or something like that. And that's all very cool. But I looked at it to say, you know what? I want to spread video game music to as many people as possible. I don't care about making money. I really don't. As long as our costs are covered. I was a video game composer for a long time. The last thing I worry about is money, right? So I want to take all of the money that I make in Video Games Live, we put right back in the show. And so because of that, we're able to play to 100,000 people in China, or we've played to 500 people in like Billings, Montana. So we can scale the show. I don't care about if I lose money doing a show. I don't care, as long as people are enjoying the show and putting it out. So what I want to do with this Kickstarter is say, you know what, I'm going to break the mold. So when people pledge to our Kickstarter, we give back at least quadruple, and most times 5 or 6 times the amount of value that you pledge. So if you pledge $5, we're going to give you like $25 worth of stuff. If you pledge $25, we're giving you like $125. You pledge $50, we're giving you like hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of video game music and art and books and sheet music and then what I did is I called up all my friends in the game industry to get some like real wacky, amazing rewards for some of the higher levels. For example, a tour of Blizzard Entertainment, lunch at Blizzard Entertainment with the Blizzard composers. Solid Snake, David Hayter, the voice of Solid Snake, will record a personalized 30-second message in the voice of Solid Snake for you. Tron, we talked about Tron, so I'm good friends with the guys who created Tron, Steve Listberger.
Amazing people, amazing.
Great guy. So when I created Video Games Live in the beginning, we had this life-size light cycle made that zooms across the stage during Tron, and I have the blueprints for it. So we're giving away the blueprints, but also on the higher levels, it's going to be signed by the creators of Tron and individually numbered. And so there's tons and signed sheet music from video game composers all around the world, including a lot of my friends in Japan, like Akira, who did Silent Hill, Habino-san, who did the Metal Gear Solid series, Kinuyo Yamashita, the original composer of Castlevania. So all of these folks, Halo team, the Bungie guys, so many amazing sheet musics that are signed and things like that. So I went over the top. People at Kickstarter are even saying this is they've never seen a Kickstarter like this before. So we're giving away the store, and we don't care, in hopes that you'll help us to create our third album.
You should, because it's incredible. You guys have done such an amazing job,
and even the stuff on the third album is things that like no one would ever put on a video game symphonic compilation album. Things like Monkey Island, Shadow of the Colossus, Beyond Good and Evil, Street Fighter 2, Journey, Earthworm Jim, and then we're going to be doing some other like deep cuts from like Blizzard games and Final Fantasy and Nintendo. But we also want to do things like Skyrim, and stuff that in new arrangements with the composers performing with world-class symphonies in a big studio. So it's really different, and the reality is that record companies don't believe in any of this, because their whole thing is, look, we're not going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, and because gamers are just going to steal it or listen to it on YouTube or download it for free, which maybe is true, a certain percentage, but I don't believe that it's 100% true. And I think that gamers are willing to pay for great stuff and quality stuff that they can't get anywhere else. And so that's why we started the Kickstarter, in hopes that, again, I want to keep creating content and putting out more and more content. So if this becomes successful, we're about halfway there now. If this is successful, we'll do this like, every year or every 2 years or whatever, and just keep producing more albums, more movies, more specials and stuff like that. So just put all the money right back into it.
So yes, check out the Video Games Live Kickstarter.
Yeah.
You should contribute, because it's easily well worth your money.
It really is.
Go see Video Games Live. It's beautiful. Okay. And if you want to check out more Tommy, go watch Gamer Wars, because he's absolutely brilliant in it.
So I did the Mega 64 guys. We did a panel last night, and I dressed up as Garrett, who's the dude with the dreads. And so I had a dread wig on, and everyone danced in. We danced in the Mega 64 panel. There's 1,000 people in the audience, and we're all dancing around, and we go up, and everybody thought I was Garrett, except like a shorter version. And then like the guys get to the table and they're like whispering like, "Who's this? What's going on?" And then they rip my wig off. They're like, "Oh my God, you're not Garrett, it's Tommy Tallarico." And it was really fun. And then we did a live Gamer Wars right there. We were shouting at each other and arguing about games and stuff. So yeah, it's fun. I love those guys. The funny thing about Gamer Wars is like, they put like written, directed, produced, audio by Tommy Tallarico. I do none of that, okay? These guys come over my house. We kind of have a rough idea, but not really. We certainly don't have a script, or we just kind of like just joke around my house for like a day, and then they go off and I don't see it until it comes out, and then they give me credit for it. But no, those guys are funny. They're real geniuses. So I love working with those guys.
Yes, well, yeah, thank you so much for talking to us. It's been incredible.
For sure, man. Thank you for helping us spread the word.
Of course, that's what we're here to do. So
Rockin',
thank you.
man.
Thank you so much.